Hello and welcome to Electropreneur Secrets, the Electrician's Podcast. As promised, even on Memorial Day, we're here with you 5 days a week to help you master sales, simplify pricing, and deliver premium level service. And today we've got quite a bit of a hot topic because
Mhm.
if you were providing service today on this stat, would you consider that something that would be disrespectful in any way, Joe?
No, I
No?
wouldn't ever consider this disrespectful. I mean, the thing is that if someone needs your service, like let's say someone's at a party right now, they're having their family over, and suddenly the lights go out. Now they can't observe the holiday the way they wanted to. And technically, we'd be an essential service for going out. So I would actually be serving a greater purpose by going out than I would be not.
By helping others, by enabling them to enjoy their holiday.
Exactly.
So, as we said prior, happy Memorial Day. And I definitely, even north of the border, recognize your fallen vets as well. We have a similar day. It's not till November.
Mhm.
But yeah, here we are. That's why we wanted to talk today about this working the holidays. How should we structure that? When is it okay? And what does it communicate to our clients when we do such a thing?
There's a lot that goes into this. So let's just kind of break it down step by step. First is, should we work it or should we not? So there's a lot of holidays that some people consider almost taboo. Like we're not going to work. Like some people are like, oh, I don't work Christmas, Christmas Eve, Thanksgiving, New Year's. Like we all have different holidays. But at the same time, we are premium service providers, meaning that we want to be different than the contractor or the electrical guy or the handyman that comes to the customer's home. Sometimes stepping out of our comfort zone and being willing to come out on those calls is the differentiation. When people are looking for working with a company, a lot of times they see, do you even offer weekend assistance? Do you offer holidays? Do you offer enhanced hours? Now, if you had the choice between starting a new relationship and not, I would rather start with someone that I feel like I can work with long term. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, such is the case even when we're offering our first class club memberships.
You're already getting to the point there. You already know.
Plug it in, plug it in.
Plug it in, plug it. Yeah, exactly. So the thing is that the very first step is being willing to offer and say, I'm willing to come out. The next is then the condition in which you do so. So first saying, yes, I'm happy to come out. So to give you perspective, someone calls your office. The fact that anyone would answer is already a winning sign. Because more than likely, your customer has no power and they're hitting voicemails. And they're hearing your call is very important to us. We'll get back to you when we're done relaxing.
And if you haven't noticed, that's a problem every normal day of the week, too, and a big
Mhm.
edge for you guys out there. So just throwing that little plug in there as well.
No, and it's a great point. So starting off with always yes, or we'd be happy to help is always the first step to making this successful. Now we need to establish our conditions in which what are our safe parameters? Not everyone wants to work 24/7. I didn't work 24/7, and I wouldn't blame you for not wanting to do the same. But being willing to work enhanced hours means that you're more than a 9 to 5 company. Meaning, for certain types of clientele, would you be willing to go out later or would you be willing to go out on the weekends? That's where the first class pass really has a lot of advantage to it. You mind if I touch on that a little bit of some of the reasons
Yeah,
why you would offer it?
for sure. I love where you're going, and I love that you're saying let's establish conditions up front.
Mhm.
So, following this policy of plan, do, check, act,
Mhm.
not just doing, not just deciding in the moment if I'm going to pick up a phone today, but
Mhm.
actually being ahead of that curve and having a plan, just like we touched on in the warranty session.
Correct. Because if you think about it, like there are some calls I don't want to leave my house for. Like it's Memorial Day. And I'm actually, you know what? There's a good example. I had a situation once where Christmas Eve, I was on call and a customer called and said, hey, I have no water right now. It's about 9 o'clock on Christmas Eve. Middle of a storm's going on right now. We had snow coming down. I said, I'd be happy to come out. Just to let you know, this is what you can expect from our level of service. What we're going to do is we could schedule a time to come out. I'll be able to come back within the 1 to 2 hour window. I'll leave my house very shortly to be out there. I will do a full evaluation. to determine exactly what's wrong. And then I will provide you a range of options so that you can choose what budget and level of quality you want. So we established what we're doing. Then we talked about the how we're going to get it done. The investment for us to come out at this time, at this availability is, and at the time it was $500 to say, listen, Christmas Eve, night, storm weather. You want me to come out? This is what it's going to cost. Believe it or not, his logic was, well, I mean, I already know what it's going to be. It should only cost this. And therefore, can you come out do it for 150? Instead of saying no, get out of here. It's Christmas Eve at night. It was, I'd be happy to help you with that. We'd be more than happy to accommodate that rate. But the thing is, for us to do that, that would be on our normal business hours. So what I could do is, if you're not needing this immediately, I'd be more than happy to come back out on Monday, and then we could do an evaluation. The diagnostic is only 150, and I'd be able to tell you exactly what we need to do from there. Would you rather us come today for 500 or Monday for 150?
Great
Believe it or
pivot.
not, he took Monday for 150.
He did. Hey, he moved it out.
Yeah, he did.
Okay, great. Again, in his control.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what this is a huge thing. And I posted about it earlier, right? This is not pressuring people to buy, it's positioning them to buy in the way that they choose. And like you've said so often, whatever they choose is a great choice because they chose you.
Exactly. And so many people don't quite get that because they think to themselves, like, well, is this a good choice? Is every choice a good choice? Like, we have in our minds which one we think they should do. Take that thought away. It is not your money. It is not your home. It is not your family. And it's not your problem. At the end of the day, you need to establish as a professional, these are the choices that I feel would rightly serve your home and family, from the finest I could possibly think of to the most economic bare bones I could do. I'm putting it in your court. I'm going to tell you what we think we can do. It's up to you to decide. How would
And
you like
let's
to
be
proceed?
honest. Let's back it up a bit. This guy called you on the eve of Christmas.
Yeah.
Did you want to be at work?
No.
Nobody wants that call. But he called you. It didn't go to voicemail.
Mm-hmm.
You picked up in a
Mm-hmm.
conversation with you that then deflected to on a regular schedule Monday.
Yep.
Your customer.
Exactly.
Great
Didn't go with
choice.
anyone else. Yeah. It worked out. It was really, really great because it is a good choice. Because if I didn't work with him, who else will? And it's not saying that, like, oh, he's desperate. It's saying more like, I know what I can control. I can control the demeanor I put out when I meet him. I can control the knowledge and the skill that I have. I can control the availability. I can control the warranty. I can control the service. Everything that I do for them, I can control. And I know that my intention is pure and right. If I were to give them to someone else, maybe they'd come out today for less. But for what? What are they really going to deliver? Is it going to be an apples to apples comparison? Not likely. A good quote I heard was, I'll match their price when they match my service.
That's all you can do.
Mm-hmm.
Because at the end of the day, here's the unpopular opinion. Most people don't like hearing this, so I'm going to say it. As you know, I like to contrast a bit.
Mm-hmm.
I've been to business school. I've been in an MBA, Master of Business degree. Here's the reality. Low cost provider, that is a business strategy. You can absolutely go and undercut everyone. There's no rules against it, as you know.
Mm-hmm.
But the only way to do that sustainably is to be a high volume provider or have some piece of technology or some edge that other people don't have. Like an in with a supplier. Ask Walmart, James says. Absolutely. Right? There are big box stores that do very well with this high volume, low cost production. And guess what? They annoy the shit out of all the small businesses in town. It happens. And when you get to 10 million plus, you could do the same thing. But it's got a very different entity, right? People shop with a big provider like that, already knowing what the expectation is. And that box comes out like on a conveyor belt, as consistent as the next one. Low hassle, no bells and whistles. We got what we paid for. The unfortunate thing is, in the service industry, like you said earlier, with due consideration for the process. People don't build a sustainable process. They just go out undercutting in fear that they won't get work if they don't.
Mhm.
Very different. That is not a good business strategy. It needs to be sustainable. Now, of
Mhm.
course, everything we talk about training, helping with, is serving at a premium level. And the biggest reason for that is because it's so bloody rare, Joe.
Oh my
No
God, yeah.
one's doing it in any industry. So much so that the first time you see premium service, you might even feel awkward about it.
Mhm.
I know I just went on a tangent here, but this ties perfectly in with the holidays because if you're going to serve at the highest level, we ought to give them that option. And you did that wonderfully in that example. So thank you.
Well, thank you. And by the way, when you say you're going on a tangent, like everything you're saying is really good stuff and it's on point. So tangent or not, it was very well put. So I appreciate it.
Yeah, definitely. So, what about this enhanced rate piece? Obviously,
Okay.
you had enhanced rates on the holidays.
Hmm.
Do
Yeah.
you
So
agree with people having enhanced rates? Do you think that we should go out for the same rate? I mean, how do you really feel about this working on the holiday piece?
I don't love the thought of taking time away from our families to give it to someone else for standard rate. And the reason being is what does it communicate to my client? So I had a joke that my former partner and I used to think of, and it was Labor Day was meant for laboring. We would always say, no matter what it was, we were always going to work on that day, just because, why not? We're tough, we can handle it. The thing is, I didn't realize years later that by me working on a holiday or a weekend or an evening for the same pay as I would from 9 to 5 shows that I don't value my time. And if I don't value my time, I also don't value my family. If I don't value my family, am I really as relatable to them as they think I am? And I'm not. So, what we need to focus on is what do you want? When do you want your clients to call you? If you're strictly 9 to 5, those are your business hours. If you're 7 to 7, if you're 6 to 6, whatever it is, you have a standard rate. The hours that you decide that you don't want to work, you have to say, am I hoping to disqualify them from calling? Or is there a rate that I'm willing to willingly and gladly go to serve someone? Because the glad is the important part as well. If I show up and I look miserable, you called me out of my bed and I'm giving you poor service the entire time, are you ever going to call me again?
No.
Probably not, because more than likely you're up and you're tired and you're frustrated and you're paying me and you're getting unpleasant service. I need to show up like, Clay, I am so sorry that you're going through this, but I want you to know it's going to be okay. Luckily, you made the right choice. We're at one stop shop where one call does it all, and we're going to gladly take care of the situation for you. Sit back and relax. We'll get the power on shortly.
I love that.
That gives you better service, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But
Yep,
you're
for
not
sure.
doing $50 an hour.
Yeah. Written right in our values is something that we preach often is health, family, then business.
Mm-hmm.
And there's good reason for this, guys. If you're listening to us on a holiday, then there's a good chance that you fall into this group of tireless work ethic, that you're working hard to build something just like we are.
Mm-hmm.
And the only reason we're truly here today is because our vision is so strong for the number of lives that we're going to impact in the next 3, 5, 10 years. That's really important to us. So we don't want to have a misstep. But
Mm-hmm.
make no mistake, Joe's got the rest of the day off. You're not working today. I am, but I'm
No.
Canadian. It's not my holiday, right?
Mm-hmm.
So health, family, then business is something that we live by too. Here's the number one reason why. Too many rich people, celebrities, people that get to that level of significance and have received plentiful in their life and their ventures for that all that work they put in end up empty and alone.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy. I just saw something actually this morning in one of the groups on the Service Avengers group.
Mm-hmm.
What's his name again? Help me out, Joe, the guy that runs that.
Ishmael?
Israel. Yes.
Yep.
And he did a wonderful post there in the last week, and it showed him hiking out in the hills, looking over his town that he takes care of, and just saying like, "Wow, Ken Goodrich told me I got to take care of me and my health." So a little plug for those guys. But I thought
Mm-hmm.
this is really good, and I'm going to insert that in today's podcast because we've talked about that too, and it's that important. If you don't just take care of you, then no matter what level of significance you reach, you'll end up empty and alone in bed at night, wondering what the hell's happening and why don't I feel fulfilled?
Can I touch on that for a moment?
Please do.
Because this is something that I feel is grossly overlooked. There's two quotes that comes down. One, I believe, is Confucius, is a bowl is most useful when it's empty. And the second is you cannot give away what you don't have. Meaning, if you yourself are constantly just giving and giving and giving and giving and never taking care of yourself, you are removing the storehouse of mental and emotional equity that you have. You need to have a safe reserve, just like your business. You need to have a fair profit. And that also counts emotionally. When you're a happier person, you serve at a higher level. When you're a dedicated and passionate person, you serve with more enthusiasm. And if you're doing those two things, serving passionately and enthusiastically and gladly, your clients will see it. But if you're always working every weekend and every holiday, never making a dime, you're going to be bitter and alone.
And you
And your
know who
clients
else
will
will
see
see
that
it?
too.
Sorry to cut you off, Joe. I didn't mean
Fun.
to ruin your flow there, but you know who else will see it? It's not just your clients.
Mm-hmm.
It's all the people around you. Your staff see it.
Mm-hmm.
Your community see it. And again, I'll reiterate, and we get off track so easily, Joe. We just come on here and do our best every day.
I love it though.
I'll just reiterate that people do business with people, not businesses. Right? That's why Kick Charge Dan Antonelli does such a great job of giving every brand personification. We're trying to highlight the culture of a brand and make it a person that we can all admire, enjoy, and do business with.
Mm-hmm.
This is so, so, so important. All right, got off track a little bit. That said, what's next here? What are we talking about with the holiday and the customer and this relation?
Sure.
What's next on this?
So the next step I think we should take is now how do we determine what rate is real and what rate is fair? Because
Okay.
we understood, I guess, do you want to work or are you willing to do it? If you're not willing to, then you should be willing to say, I'm not coming. I can't. These are my hours and this is what I'm set to. But on the chance that you are willing to go and you feel that you can do so, you need to say to yourself, what would motivate me to do so that would make me happy to take this call? For me, I considered it time and a half. If you were going to call me on a weekend, time and a half for whatever we're doing. Now, I wasn't charging by the hour, but I would associate every price I was going to give was going to be at that rate.
Right.
And in addition to that, then same thing could be applied for weekends and holidays. If you're willing to come at a special rate, like if you were to say, okay, well, what would a holiday night be? Once again, Christmas, storm, 9 o'clock at night, you can go and say double rate would even be fair. Because you're not telling someone I won't help you. You're like, I'm glad to help you. If you want me to leave my house right now, leave my family and take care of yours at this moment, this is what it would cost me to come out there and do that. If you're willing to wait for tomorrow morning, it would cost this. If you're willing to wait for our normal business hours, it would cost this. How would you like to proceed? Would anyone really be like mad at you for that? You gave them choices. I'm willing and happy to come for any of those options.
Yep. Yep. I agree. So really important stuff. I mean, keep in mind too that this isn't just you and your decision. As you said, it's your family,
Mm-hmm.
it's your health. So that time is more valuable. It should cost more.
Mm-hmm.
But isn't that fair to everyone, really?
Yeah, I would agree. If I were to say, if I were to look at my girls and say, sorry, guys, I know that, we were going to hang out today, but I have to go and do some work. It better be something where I can say, you know what? It is worth more to me than that time with my family. And in all honesty, there's not a lot. There's not a lot that I consider worth more than time with my family. So if I'm going to go, I got to make sure that I can justify it and say, you know what? For that extra amount that I'm going to get, I'm putting that towards our vacation fund this year. You can justify it however you want. But as long as you're willing to run the play and choose what matters to you and your family, you'll be on the right track.
Yep, for sure. I can tell you one thing. I personally have worked way too many 4,000-hour years.
Mm,
Just, I think my record honestly was 98 days in a row. I worked 12 to 14-hour days without a day off.
that sounds terrible.
That's just how it
Impressive.
was in the area that
Impressive.
I was working projects 20 years ago. It was insane. There was just no thought for personal or mental well-being. Very, very bad, right? So that said, I can tell you from firsthand experience, I've made a ton of money and I've given a ton of time away. And if I could change it, if I could go back, I wouldn't have done the 4,000-hour years again because
Going
the
back to
money's
work
gone.
balance.
It doesn't mean anything now. Paid for some experiences. That's cool. Had the trucks and the trailer and the house and the toys, the side by sides and boats, and like the never ending keeping up with the Joneses doesn't actually fulfill you. As some of our mentors have said, money's a magnifying glass. It'll actually show you where your problems are, where you're vulnerable, because it won't fix that, and you'll be left wondering why. Bit deep, bit dramatic there, but that's an
That's
important
intense.
conversation to have when deciding, hey, what is my time worth? How much do I want to work? And it's since we're kind of, transitioning to time management, when we teach time blocking and time management in our program, we always give this single piece of advice, and it will help you and your family so much. Don't put work first. Health, family, then business, literally. So why would you go to your schedule and put work first? It's like we talked about cash management secrets last work. Profit first. Don't put revenue first, put profit first.
Bills don't come
Fill the
first. Profit
time
does.
with the revenue. Don't fill the time with work and then go, here's what I have left for my health and here's what I have left for my family. Go the other way and live a life by design. Is that so crazy?
It sounds crazy for a lot of the people that are currently in that struggle, because if you don't know different, sometimes if you're in the bottle, you can't see the label. I've heard in some ways. So the thought is that you need to get out of it, but the only way to get out of it is be willing to put yourself first, and that means putting your family in front.
Yep, definitely. And Anthony joins us live. He says, shouldn't the goal for all of us to be owner absent and set ourselves up to be the owner instead of the operator? And that's absolutely true, and a great comment, Anthony. 100% agree with you. In fact, that's one of the questions that was on my mind is then, okay, as you've got your team, and you've built a team up, how do you rotate those on-call shifts? And hint, hint, that was almost rhetorical because I do believe in rotation myself. Because again, we stand for health, family, then business. It's not just for us, the owners, it's for the entire culture. But definitely should be getting to a point of delegation there, Anthony. As they say, the law of hindrance against business as two things that hinder us. A is discipline, the discipline to do the right things for the right people at the right time, and then trust, that ability to actually delegate and train people to take some of these hats you're wearing, take them off and help you build them up better than you could have ever worn that hat anyways.
Sounds like a solid plan.
All right, we're getting away from the topic here a bit, but guess what? That's good enough for Memorial Day, Joe. I think we can wrap this up. What do you got for action items for these guys for this holiday topic? Do you have anything in mind?
Yeah, I've got some ideas. So I'd feel at the very bare minimum, like if we're just scratching the bottom level of the bar, your bare minimum should be, are you willing to work certain days? Like just entertain it and say, am I even willing to understand the number to do so? So that would be take all your holidays and literally just either red X them or green check mark them. If you can say, I'm willing to even entertain them, that's good. If you're able to say that I'm not even going to entertain it at all, that's also good. The reason why that's the bare minimum action is because it's not worth you going in and trying to figure out what you would charge if you right off the jump say, I would not work this day.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I feel at the very bare minimum, know what you're willing to work and what you're not. Is that fair for a baseline action?
Yes. Yes, it is, Joe.
Mhm. I do have something for the all-star if you open to it.
Please go for it.
Okay. With that being said, now that you've had those dates, the next step is an enhanced version of that, is to say which dates are the highest priority to you. Such as an example, depending on what faith you have, there are certain holidays that be more important. Like if you're not a Christian background, maybe you wouldn't prioritize Christmas. And that's totally fair. So saying which holidays and celebrations are most important to you and are you willing to work them? Those holidays, now you need to determine which take priority over others. So, like, sake of argument, if you were like, yeah, I'm okay working Memorial Day, I'm able to do Labor Day, I'm able to do this, but I'm not doing New Year's and I'm not doing Christmas. That's also fair. Once you have those things, you would break them to 3 tiers. A, I'm not willing to work it. B, I'm willing to work it at a enhanced rate. And C, I'm only working this day, this hour at a double rate, or at least in a time and a half rate, something with significantly more. It takes you a lot to get out of it. Once you have those written down as the all-star, I need you to literally put it and laminate it and glue it to your computer dashboard. It has to be something you're willing to commit to. If it's not visible to your CSR or it's not visible to you when you would answer a phone, it doesn't apply. It's not real anymore. So we've got to be willing to make it a policy. Is that fair for an all-star?
Yeah, love it. Really solid way to finish, guys. As always, this is Electrepreneur Secrets, the electricians podcast. We're here 5 days a week, even on Memorial Day, to help you guys master sales, simplify pricing, and deliver premium level service. If you want to be with us on the inside, join our Facebook group, Electrepreneur Secrets, or just type the Electrician Podcast in Facebook or any other podcast provider site to get this episode and all the ones prior. This has been number 79, Joe. Approaching 80 quickly, and by the end of June, we'll be through 100 already.
Wow.
Thank you so much. You guys have a great Memorial Day, and we'll see you again tomorrow.
Take care.
Cheers.